What's good? What's good? It's good, good YouTube. Back at it again. American Arawaks for part two of our series of Arawak artifacts found in southern United North America, southeast, I should say. And let's get to it. All right, let's get to it. So, um, where was I? So I'm gonna read from. It goes right in the middle, right here. Yeah. Um, Once our colonial farm, surveyed by George Washington in 1754, was restored, I dived into a series of fascinating historic preservation projects in northwestern Virginia. Over and over again, strange Native American artifacts began coming out of the ground at sites in Shenandoah River bottomlands between Starrsburg and Newmarket, Virginia. They look like they belonged in central Mexico, the Caribbean basin, or South America. These strange artifacts included ornately painted pottery, stone metates, metates, and rectangular slate cassava grills. So you know the cassava is Arawakan already. And so let me get down here. On the telephone, I couldn't even get past the secretary of the UVA Department of Anthropology. She was simultaneously speaking to me and a professor standing near her. When she transmitted my plea that I had studied in Mexico, he shouted Mexico, laughed, and walked away. So they weren't taking her serious, huh? Anyway, um, it would be, well, it could be a him too. But anyway, it would be another 20 years before I would stumble across a downloadable copy of Sam Kercheval's landmark 1833 book, A History of the Valley of Virginia. In it, Kercheval specifically stated that early settlers found their farmlands littered with Indian artifacts, which looked like they came from Mexico or South America. I also learned that the name of the tribe in that part of the valley was Petun, which is Tupi, South American word for tobacco. They were known to the British as the Tobacco Indians. By then, I was long gone from Virginia. Tupi also lived on the South Atlantic coast near present-day Midway, Georgia. The Timucua were Arawaks, originally from Venezuela. In 1990, at the same time that I was first struggling to get explanations for strange artifacts in the Shenandoah Valley, brilliant University of Florida linguist Julian Granberry succeeded in producing a glossary and grammar for Timucua, the language family spoken by a group of indigenous uh, provinces in northeast Florida and the interior of southeast Georgia. He traced the language to Warao Arawak, which is spoken today 2,500 miles to the southeast in Venezuela. First, we should explain Timucua is a word coined by early 17th century Spanish invaders of Florida to label a group of provinces which spoke their languages. The word is derived from the name Tamacoa, a tribe that lived on the lower Altama River in southeast Georgia, which then was also considered La Florida by the Spanish. Tamacoa is a combination of Toton, Totonac, it's a Maya word for trade, Tama, with the Middle Arawak word for people or tribe. Ironically, the actual Tamakwa really despised the Spanish and soon moved up the Altamaha and then Oconee rivers into northeast Georgia. By the 1700s, they were members of Creek Confederacy. Dutch-speaking Jewish gold miners in northeastern Georgia called them the Tamokagin, while the Anglo-American settlers later called them Tamagua. Their capital was at a 40 feet tall mound in the middle of Oconee River near present-day Commerce, Georgia. The mound still exists in pristine condition, but it is little known, even within the county where it is located. In fact, the original name of the commerce was Tamagua. Granberry's professional paper in 1990 stated that Timucua included several words which were borrowed from Creeks. They were definitely not Muskogean words per se. They were all Itsamaya words such as Tama. Granberry did not realize that many branches of the Creeks were not real Muskogeans, such as the Choctaw, but actually immigrants from southern, east central, and northwestern Mexico. So you hear that? Many branches of the Creeks were not real Muskogeans, such as Choctaw. So they came up from Mexico, east central, northwestern Mexico. I'm saying so. We mixed in. You know, the south mixed in with the north. You know, and the islands as well. Orinoco River to the St. Johns River, Timucua had come in direct contact with Chantal Maya traders. During 2012 to 2014, the Mayas in Georgia controversy references to the connection between Timucua and Waro were removed from Wikipedia. Obviously, if the Waro could travel 2,500 miles to settle large uh, numbers in Florida and Georgia, then the much more sophisticated Samaya would easily take two short hops between Yucatan and Cuba, then Cuba and Florida, and sail along the coast of eastern North America. However, the Waro Mukra articles have now returned. So this is what the mounds supposedly look like. This is the original appearance of the Okmulgee around 980. The Great Temple Mound was built over the chief's house. So this is what it looks like. Okmulgee's Acropolis, founded by Arawak's mounds, uh, founded by Arawaks around 980. During the largest archaeological excavation ever carried out in the United States between 1933 and 1939 on a plateau overlooking the Ocmulgee River, archaeologist Arthur Kelly described that the original inhabitants lived in supersized teepee-shaped structures about 35 feet in diameter. Shell-tempered plain redware pottery was found in association with the big houses. There were some smaller but older round structures containing Swift Creek pottery underneath the large round structures. So Kelly assumed that all of these round structures were the founders of the large town of mound builders not having the technology of radiocarbon dating. He assumed that the rectangular houses were contemporaneous round ones. For the next 75 years, the only radiocarbon dates were obtained from mounds, so no archaeologist was aware of the actual chronology of the large round houses. When archaeologists and art historians from the Midwest and northeastern United States designed the exhibits at the Okmulgee Nation Monument Museum, they wanted visitors to think that all advanced indigenous culture came from the north. It was a very subtle form of regional propaganda The intention left out any mention of the large roundhouses, plus all artifacts associated with Mayan culture, hundreds of 2 to 3 feet diameter salt drying pans were found in Okmulgee, which were clearly a technology straight from the Mayas. Within a few years, even the archaeology profession forgot about the missing information. This is an image of the rock owls can be found near Atlanta, Georgia, and in the Tor River, Cuba. So, see the similarities? Um, let's get back to it. Checking if anyone is in the chat. Well, y'all could catch me later if no one's in the chat. Anyway, let's get to it. On a town site atop Browns Mount, over 6 miles to the south of Akmalgi Acropolis, Kelly's team of archaeologists found a concentration of pottery with old motifs. Any old motif pottery found at the Acropolis was traced to potters on Browns Mount. A decade later, Tennessee archaeologists Thomas Lewis and Madeline Nieberg found very similar old motif pottery on Hiwassee Island in Tennessee River. For the next 80 years, no Georgia of Tennessee archaeologists realized that the old motif pottery was very similar produced by the Toa Arawaks in the Toa River Valley of Cuba. The main town in that region was Baracoa. Baracoa, like Puerto Rico, but I'll leave that there. In 2012, at his dissertation project at the University of Georgia, Daniel Bigman carried out a comprehensive ground radar survey of the Okmulgee Acropolis, thus obtained some radiocarbon dates for residential structures. He discovered that the Arawak-style houses had typified Okmulgee for over a century. Rectangular Mesoamerican-style houses only began appearing only around 1000 AD, when Itzamaya-style houses were first constructed 2 miles south of Itzazi, the Lamar village. Thereafter, more and more rectangular houses were built to the point by the time of the Acropolis abandonment around 1150 AD. Almost all houses were rectangular. They have in a picture here. They always use the sham to cover up the truth, but that's because we don't know who we are. So hey, they're gonna step up. These you know melanin deficient people gonna step up in our place if we don't wake up. Anyways, only around 1000 AD, when Mitsamaya style houses were first constructed 2 miles south of its, Isazi. The Lamar village thereafter, more and more rectangular houses were built upon by the time of the Acropolis' abandonment around 1150 AD. Almost all houses were rectangular. So they're saying similarities are in the islands too, and on the mainland. During the period when Akmalgia Acropolis was occupied, short-tempered plain redware pottery typified utilitarian util, utilitarian wear of both Maya commoners and the peoples of the Caribbean basin. These Ashinaka dancers are identical in appearance to Spanish description of Florida Apache. So they're just playing the part, That's all. They're just actors. The Soto visit Peruvian Arawak province in the Florida Panhandle. In the late autumn of 1539, Aranda de Soto expedition entered the province, which from then forward must be mistakenly believed as Apalachee. One of the first towns he visited in this province was named Appalachian, which is a plural of Appalachee in the hybrid Panoan Itza Muskogean language that was spoken by ancestors of Creek Indians. In fact, the real Appalachee were in northeast Georgia. This fact was pointed out by French ethnologist Charles de Rochefort in 1658. Rochefort stated that the real Appalachee had established a trading colony among this tribe in Florida, but the Floridians never called themselves Appalachee until the Spanish repeatedly told them that was their name. So they see the names that we adopted were forced upon us. You know what I mean? And this was the reason why we lost our identity as well. Because they forced names upon us that weren't us. But I'm gonna leave that there also. Until the Spanish repeatedly told them that was their name. The Rochefort stated that the Floridians were Arawaks from Peru. Hear that? Floridians were Arawaks from Peru. The capital town was named Anihaika. Charles de Rochefort didn't have access to an Ashinanka Southern Arawak dictionary, but he was somehow correct. Anihaika is an Ashinanka word meaning elite, place of. In fact, most of the Florida Appalachee village names can be translated with an Ashinanka dictionary. There's more evidence until the 20th century, but Ashinanka men and women wore grass skirts like the Polynesians. Wow. Like the Polynesians. What a coincidence. Hmm? Who do we look like? You ever seen the Polynesians? The original Polynesians? Let me see if I could pull it up. See? That's what the original people of Polynesia look like. See that? See that with the locks? See that? Hmm? Look at this melanated brother right here. Know what I'm saying? Original Hawaiians look. Look at that. Hmm? Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Hmm? They wear grass skirts. Anyway, I'm going to get back to this article right here. It's good to read. The chroniclers of De Soto expedition state that the Florida Appalachia were grass skirts. De Soto visited an Arakan province in central Georgia in early March 1540. 1540, there was an Arawak province in central Georgia. Hernando de Soto expedition entered the province of Toa on the lower Ocmulgee River in central Georgia. The chroniclers of the expedition stated that the conquistadors immediately noticed that the people of the Toa were much more culturally advanced than those present in Florida. The Toa may also average a foot taller than the Spanish. The men wore mustaches and turbans. The men wore mustaches and turbans. Who said we didn't wear turbans, huh? Okay. The women leaders also wore turbans in contrast to the Florida Appalachia. Both men and women wore brightly colored and patterned woven clothing. They worshipped a single invisible God. In short, they appeared in every cultural detail to be standard Creek Indians. However, there is a problem. People of Torah established colonies in that what is now east central Alabama along the lower Coosa River and in the vicinity of Birmingham, Alabama. These colonies were also Towasi in English. This means offspring of Toa. In the late 1700s, a glossary of Towasi words was developed. The language was a mixture of Taino Arawak and its state Creek, but the basic grammar was Arawak. You hear that? This is in Alabama. Stela is very similar to the Sweetwater Creek stela can be found in the Toa province once existed around present-day Arecibo, Puerto Rico. Indigenous people of the Toa River in Cuba originally lived in large round teepee-shaped houses like those that were built in the what just happened? My bad. Are built at the Ocmulgee National Monument for over a century. There must be a connection. Yes, there's a connection. Of course it is. The Tenasai on Hiwassee Island, Tennessee, were visited by explorers De Soto and Pardo. And De Soto, I think he said he saw Negro feature-looking people when he came here. So we need to check up who De Soto is. They were a mixed Taino, Muskogean, and Isamai heritage. So you see, we are mixed in. De Soto on the Coosa River. Chronicles of De Soto expedition provided little detail on the villages along the Coosa River. However, they did list the names of these communities that were Muskogean or Itsamaya words. Several of the names were the same or similar to villages or towns on the Georgia coast, which had a South American culture at the time of European contact. Hear that? The Miami Circle probably represent the arrival of Arawaks from Cuba or Puerto Rico. Did the Arawaks originate in the lower southeast? The biggest surprise comes from the writings of French ethnologist Charles de Rochefort. His landmark book, Histoire naturelle et morale des Antilles d'Amérique. See? So we call America. And this is indigenous to this land. It's a mountainous region in Nicaragua called Amérique. So I think it was a tribe called Amérique. So you should check it out. Check this book out. Initially published in 1558, also contains several chapters on the indigenous people of the lower southeast, in particular northern Georgia. Rochefort interviewed several of the few surviving Arawaks in Greater and Lesser Antilles, plus Richard Brickstock, who spent much of 1653 in what is now Georgia. According to the Taino elders, the Arawaks originated in the coastal plain of Georgia and South Carolina. They constructed the shell rings there and probably were responsible for the earliest known pottery in North America. You hear that? Most of the Arawaks began migrating southward until they eventually reached Peru and the Amazon basin. They then began migrating back north again. Rochford stated that at one time there were many Arawaks in North Carolina mountains, but they had been mostly replaced by Appalachian, Samoa, and Creek Indians. Some Arawaks still remain. That would explain the presence of Arawak town names such as Satikoa, colonist people. The first map to show Cherokees living in the North Carolina mountains in 1721, Bramwell map of the southern colonies list some villages near present-day Franklin, North Carolina, that have a zero prefix or suffix attached to Muskogee or Itza word. That O is Southern Arawak grammar. It means principal town. The Rutherford version of Lower Southeast Native American history is both different and far more detailed than taught students today. However, his statement should be taken very seriously. Most of the architectural information that de Rochefort provided about Proto Creek towns was not discovered by North American archaeologists until the late 20th century. Even though he never himself visited southeastern North America, he knew many estate Creek words and customs. The picture he has painted of the migrations of the Arawaks is exactly opposite current orthodoxies, but in reality, archaeology backs up much of what he said. So, so Richard Thornton. This is by Richard Thornton, president of the Appalachian Foundation. Richard Thornton is a professional architect, city planner, author, museum exhibit designer, builder. He is today considered one of the nation's leading experienced Southeastern Indians. However, that was not always the case. While at Georgia Tech, Richard was the first winner of the Barrett Fellowship, which enabled him to study Mesoamerican architecture and culture in Mexico under the auspices of Instituto Nacional de Antropología y Historia, Dr. Roman Pina Chan, famous archivist, and director of the Museo Nacional de Antropología as his fellowship coordinator for decades. Afterward, he lectured at universities and professional societies around the Southeast Mesoamerican architecture. While knowing very little about his own Creek heritage, then he was hired to carry out projects for Muskogee Creek Nation and Oklahoma. The rest is history. And you know, in Oklahoma, that's where the Trail of Tears, where they did the removal, the Indian removal act, right? That's east of the Mississippi River. Yeah. The rest is history. Richard is the tribal historic preservation officer for KVWETV Coweta Creek Tribe, and a member of the Perdido Bay Creek Tribe. In 2009, he was architect for Oklahoma Trail of Tears Memorial at Council Oak Park in Tulsa. Tulsa, huh? You know what happened in Tulsa, right? He is the president of the Appalachian Foundation, which sponsors research into advanced indigenous uh, societies of the lower southeast. So I think that's it. That wraps it up. But yeah, I'm gonna show you the artifacts they found. The actual artifacts that they found in Puerto Rico, Georgia, and Dominican Republic. Yeah, so that's about it for that article. It was a good read. Good read. Yeah, so it's very interesting that so much similarities between the Caribbean and southeastern North America. As I was reading, they said that the Arawaks originated from north, and then went south, then come back north. So it was a huge empire, man. It wasn't just in the Caribbean and South America. It was all the whole America, man. I'm saying the whole thing, you know. So we gotta start, you know, take into consideration that we are mixed in with different tribes, you know, because the Creek and the Muskogean seems like they have a lot of Arawak and you know similarities. So um, and remember when Columbus came, so-called Columbus, his first encounter was with the Arawaks. So as far as the known in knowing the Indians, the Arawak is like one of the first ones to be come in contact with the Europeans, colonial invaders, so to speak. But yeah, that was a good read. I'm gonna see if I could share something else with you guys. Give me a minute. Let me look something up real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Let's see. Oh yeah, there's another thing I wanted to show you guys. The Declaration of Independence, right? Only proves that. Hold on. Let me show you guys something. I'm gonna show you that the so-called whites were the slaves. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you. This is from BHO British History Online. Okay, here it says this is in 1716, right? Supposedly transatlantic period, right? Okay, right here is a journal from Mr. Cockburn, Mr. Chetwin, Mr. Cook, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Molesworth. This is in Antigua. Mr. Nevin Tuax, importing white slaves. See that? Importing white slaves. Mr. Nevin attending presented to their lordship two acts passed by Antigua in July and August 1716. The one entitled an act of encouraging the importation of white servants to this island. The other, an act for appointing an agent to negotiate the affairs of this island, naming him for that employment, and desired with lordships would take him into consideration as soon as possible, together with the other acts of that island lately transmitted by General, which they promised to do accordingly. See, imported white slaves. So there you go. You think that it was so-called black people were the slaves? You got something else coming. I'm saying so. I even saw one where it was explaining how they were trying to make treaty with the Caribs. Like was explaining that the Caribs were the owners of the island, and they were like trying to negotiate a treaty. But I would have to see if I could find it. I have to see if I could find it. I'll probably go all the way back. find it. I remember what I was searching for, and I couldn't. I remember where it is, but when I find it, I bring it up, show it to you. Find, yeah, it's real, man. I want to show you guys. Yeah, the Declaration of Independence. I'm gonna show you that 1776. This was because they were slaves and they wanted to be free from the Brits. The Brits were the dark nobles, the Europeans, the original Europeans. This is not. This wasn't for us. This was for them. They were the slaves. They wanted to be free. I'll show you. So this is the preamble, I think, up top. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bonds which have connected them with another, and to assume among other powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitled them. So they were just trying to get break free from Britain, pretty much. So that was just declaring they don't want to be slaves anymore. So they was complaining. He has refused. This is, I think, King George, or one of them, King Charles. I think it was King George. He has refused to assent to laws most wholesome and necessary for the public good. So I'm going to show you that these were the slaves, right? He has refused dissolution of cause that elected by legislative powers to exercise. Where is it? So right here, this proves that they were foreigners, so they were the slaves. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners. They were complaining about being naturalizing these lands through the colonies because they're foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration either, and raising the condition of new appropriations of lands. So see, they wasn't getting no lands. You know what I'm saying? And I could show you that they were fighting with us and we were kicking their ass. See, right here. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become executioner of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. Right? He has excited domestic insurrection amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages. See that? Whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. So they were trying to be free, and at the same time, they were scared of us. I'm saying because we weren't having it. I'm saying. So the question is, at what time did these pale faces really gain control? I'm saying because this was like late in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like 4 years prior to the a year prior to the what you call it, but this was like prior to the Constitution and the I forgot the one they was before the Constitution, the Confederacy. But I just wanted to show you guys that this was for them trying to be free because they were the slaves. You know what I'm saying? They were the slaves. They were the white slaves. So they were like complaining that they wanted to be free. Well, anyways, I'm I'm gonna just gonna leave it there for now, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And yo, peace. Peace out. We'll continue this soon. Subscribe, like, share. I'm saying American Arawaks. Peace out.